Venga, Doc, a ello. Antes de que... Vale. ¡Cuidado! ¡Espera! ¡Guau! ¡Guau! ¡Buen tiro, Doc! Vete, Doc. ¡Vamos! Todo va a ir bien. Vaya, ¿ahora qué? ¡Guau! ¡Espera! Bajémonos cuanto antes.
To convey a sense of urgency, we originally designed Alex to nag the player pretty frequently. She'd say things like, "Hurry up and keep moving." Whether or not this created a sense of urgency is debatable, but after about 3 minutes of this, the one thing it definitely did was make the player hate Alex. This was one of the observations that eventually led us to switch Alex from generally leading the players to almost always following. Through playtesting, we discovered that players much preferred to set the pace themselves, and that they especially disliked virtually any hint of bossiness from Alex.
Dios mío, todo está destrozado. Increíble. No sabía nada. Vaya caída. Hay que llegar al núcleo como sea. Un mapa vendría al pelo.
We populate our environments with spots where players can take a break to look out over an expanse of cool scenery. We call these vistas. This particular vista was designed to give anyone familiar with the Citadel interior from Half-Life 2 a good view of what it looks like now that everything's falling apart. The pods that are sliding off their track and into the abyss really sell the idea that the Citadel is half abandoned and in chaos.
In an early version of this map, Alex led the player through the whole thing. To make Alex seem less omniscient, we had her access a console here to get her bearings. It exploded, which helped drive home the point that the Citadel was in bad shape, but generally, it was a long pause in the action without a lot of payoff. After we made the high-level decision to have Alex follow the player, this entire scene became irrelevant, and we happily cut the whole thing.
Acechadores. En teoría, no nos molestarán si les dejamos en paz. Desactivar el campo y... ¡Mierda! No puedo desactivarlo. Hay algo. El acechador. Lo controla desde el otro lado. No tenemos tiempo para buscar otro camino. ¿Cómo vamos a pasar? Minas. Nos ayudarán a salir. Busca a dónde van las minas. Se me ocurre cómo utilizar una.
In a good puzzle, the player is presented with an overall goal, and then faces... In a good puzzle, the player is presented with an overall
Training is one of the fundamental tenets of our design philosophy. Before the player is required to utilize some new game mechanic, or new weapon, or face a new monster under pressure in a dangerous situation, we always introduce the concept in a relatively calm, but ideally still entertaining way. This entire scene teaches the player that Alex can convert roller mines so that they can be used as a friendly weapon. Later, the player is required to do this in more pressing circumstances, but at this point, everything's still pretty calm. In the original design, the player retrieved the roller mine from a dispenser and used it to take out a combine soldier who was holding the field from the other side. Eventually, we scrapped that idea and combined the roller mine training with some stalker exposition that originally occurred in a separate scene.
Dame una mina rodante.
Detectamos fractura grande. Sistemas médicos operados. Administrado morfina.
Se reconfigura la identificación. Alteramos la carga eléctrica y se pasa de baja. Ponla donde pueda trabajar. Ahí está. Es más inestable, pero durará hasta librarnos de los acechadores. Suéltala. Funcionará. Suéltala. Va. Ya podemos pasar. Venga.
Training.
In a good
We wanted to create an atmosphere of urgency in the Citadel, with Alex and the player focused on getting to the core to stop the impending collapse. Initially, we tried to reflect that urgency through Alex's behavior and acting. This proved to be unsustainable, however. If the player didn't choose to advance, Alex eventually ran out of lines or animations and was forced into her very non-urgent idle states. We found that the best approach was for Alex to have such implicit trust in and sympathy with the player that she's always content to proceed at whatever pace the player chooses. Once we adopted this principle, lines where Alex sounded impatient or frustrated with the pace of progress quickly stood out and were cut.